Alright, Amanda here with Homeschool and Life, and today I am going to do a quick little video just about spelling. I know spelling is kind of like a minor subject, and there's so many different like curriculums and approaches and things that you can take. And so I have learned over the past 10 years that each of my kids needs or thrives better off of a different type of spelling program. So for whatever you want to call it. So today, that's what we're going to do, is talk about the different kinds of curriculum and what I picked for each different learner style, because it's so different. So with one of my kids, if you have a kid like this, they are a super good speller, like just a natural good speller. Some people just have that gift. So when we would do the like spelling worksheets and spelling curriculums, it was actually obnoxious, and it took so much time and effort. Like they would get 100% right every single time, and they're doing all those like day-by-day activities like fill in the blank here or match the words here, or, just a normal spelling worksheet type curriculum, and they just they did not like it. It was very boring. So we switched to Spelling Wisdom. And what Spelling Wisdom is it just is these, let me open it for you. It's just these, can you see? Oh, it starts off pretty slow, just like a sentence. But towards the end, it's just passages of literature that they copy. Like they just write it down. So, and then there's multiple books. So like say the covers are tore off. It even got to like passages this long. So this, and it's just, good pieces of literature. So they just, I dictate it to them. So like I would read, 7-8 words at a time, and they would copy it just from their memory of my words. So that made them have to work on their dictation, like being able to hear and understand and memory and write it down. So it worked really, really well for that child. And they were getting rich literature too. And so they liked that they weren't having to do the same 10-word spelling list every week or something. Like every day it was new. And after I would dictate it to them, I would check their work, and if they spelled anything wrong, they would have to, write that word, 10 times, or they'd have to write that word in a sentence. And then I would, like the next day before we started, I'd have them write that word again, and then we would start on the next part of the passage. Because I wouldn't do a full passage like this in a day. I might do like, I don't know, whatever I thought they could handle. And this particular child, it worked really well on. So if they are a good natural speller, if they can spell it, spell it wrong once and then get it the next day, this would be good. And I loved the rich literature and the works that they were getting to do. Now, if they are not a good speller naturally, that's probably not a good curriculum for them. Because if they're going to spell multiple words wrong every day, that could get really frustrating to them. So that worked out with us. Another one would just be your typical workbook. This is for first grade, but it goes through, you write the words, you copy the words, you do your vocabulary, and then you have a test on Friday. Like just fill in the letters to make it work. And they have stuff like this for like every single grade, Abeka specifically. So it's very just like workbook based. It's very much very similar to like what you would do, or you might have remembered doing in public school if you went to public school. And so I have a kid that has a good like visual memory, like, so this kind of stuff works really well. So he wants to be done in just 5 to 6 minutes a day, and so the workbook style works well. And I looked at Abeka, and they have like spelling, vocabulary, and poetry up through all the grades, and so like it works really well. So you just basically get your workbook style and move on. So there's one kid. So you've got your copy, work, and dictation. You've got your workbook style. So I have a third one that really threw me for a loop. This one was not a good speller. They hated the dictation work. They would get words wrong. They did not like the workbook style. They would still get words wrong. We did flashcards, and they still struggled. And so Lauren actually told me about, we actually keep it in a running shoe box in their cubby, about the Phonetic Zoo. And it is the most expensive spelling program I have ever bought. And I've had all about spelling. I've had a reason for spelling. I've done all the spellings. And so this is what ended up working for my family. And so it was kind of expensive. And so I was like, oh man, I don't want to pay that much for a spelling curriculum. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to try this, which is the beauty of being able to teach to different learners. And it worked. We've done it for 2 years now, and it's kind of odd. I mean, it's just not your normal, but it works. So he gets this box out every day, and there's a lesson. Look, there's his lesson cards. We keep their lesson cards in a rubber band, and each lesson has words. Like there's level A, B, and C. And so what they do, look, the stuff is in here. They listen to the CD, which, are CDs outdated? I think so. It comes with CDs, but we downloaded the MP3s, and so it's got his spelling on the MP3s, and he just goes and he hits the list, and he can pause it and things like that. So it's still working on dictation, but he writes the words once. Like it'll say, you know, use this, and it uses it in a sentence. I'm looking for the front of the book here, and he spells them. Then after that, it goes and it dictates them again, and so you write it. Well, you can just see I have him write it right underneath it, the second time it has them spelled correctly, and so he writes the correct version beside it. And then we count up how many he got right or wrong. And so there's 15 words in a lesson, and you have to get 15 correct, all 15 correct, 2 days in a row before you can move forward. And so at first it kind of like, it was a little daunting because it took this child a long time for each lesson. Like we did not get very many lessons done in the first part of the year. And so I was like, I'm just going to trust the process. I'm going to trust the process. And so the second half of the year, they were getting them quicker. And so then we did it for year 2, and it was like just getting so much better. And so it's kind of one of those odd things that it's a little bit different methodology, but for this child, it just worked. And again, they were not a very strong speller. They did not like copying big pieces of literature. The workbook style was getting frustrating to us both, because even at the end of the week when we would do all the things, all the activities at the end of the week, we were still not getting good grades or getting enough right on our spelling to make you feel good. But switching to this has been a game changer. It is worth every penny for this particular child. Even though I think it was the most expensive curriculum part I bought for this one last time. But the fact that they can just go get their iPad, we have a lot of technology laying around, and just gets out the notebook, can do it on his own, and like count how many he gets right. And so it's real interesting. At the beginning of the week, he might get half right, and then by the end of the week, he's getting like 13 right, and then it carries on over to the next week, and then he gets 15 correct 2 days in a row, and then we just move on to the next. So it has worked really, really well, and I love it for that personality type that's maybe not a strong speller, and all the little tricks and gimmicks to spelling were not working. And on the spelling cards, like each lesson, it gives, like this one is the tricky E's, and it has like a theme to those types of words. And so I told you we've done it for 2 years now, and I've noticed that even in the writing, it's transferring over, and he is spelling so many words correctly, and it's all like, because he remembers the jingles from this. So there you go. And so I have 4 kids, and so one is just starting out, so I don't really know what's going to work for him. Out of all the 10 different spelling things I've tried, I basically have settled on 3 for my top 3 oldest. Just dictation copy, no worksheets, and they remember it well. And that child is like a very strong reader and a very strong writer. And so I think it's just like naturally for them. So the dictation and the spelling wisdom was perfect. Then I've got one who has a great memory, a great visual memory. So the workbook style worked perfect for them. Like, not all kids love the workbook style, but it works perfect. And then my non-strong speller, who we tried every single method possible, has his box, and he gets it out, and he does his spelling every day. It does not take very long. Side note, this is one of my favorites. This box, we have lots of running shoe boxes at our house, and this is actually my favorite speed shoe so far. It's the Brooks Hyperion Tempo. Totally off topic. I don't know if you're a runner or care. Maybe I should just do a video on my favorite running shoes. Would you watch that? Would anybody care? Maybe not. Don't comment on that. So anyways, the beauty of the homeschooling is that You get to learn your child, you get to learn their learning styles, and you get to figure out and experiment with what works best for them. And like I said, this one was a little bit strange, but I trusted the process and it worked. So we ended on spelling wisdom, just workbook style, basically any homeschool curriculum company would work, and then the phonetic zoo from IEW was awesome. So I don't know if I was able to help you get a best spelling, but there's you some spelling options. And I'm sorry I left my phone out here. If it kept going off, I didn't mean to do that, so sorry about that. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will try to link to some of this stuff for you.